Hi, I'm Norma Gerard, and I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes describing the BCG model for determining product or business unit profitability. The Boston Consulting Group analysis was first described by the famous Bruce Henderson in 1968 and consists of a 2x2 matrix indicating high and low market share and business growth rate, and was intended to help companies analyze the profitability of their products or business units. Briefly, in each of these four quadrants, we place the products or business units under consideration in positions representing their growth rate and market share. In the upper right, we have the question marks with high potential growth rate but low market share. In the upper left are the stars with high market share in a fast-growing industry. Next are the cash cows with high market share in a relatively slow growth industry. And finally, in the lower right are the dogs, which have low market share in a slow growth industry. So the strategy is summarized here. It describes a life cycle in which analysts identify a company's question marks or problem children. A few of the most promising ones are selected for promotion and developed into stars with high market share in a fast-growing industry. As the industry matures and business growth rate slows, these business units become cash cows, which generate a lot of profit but no longer need much investment input. As these units deteriorate further, losing market share, they're known as dogs and should be divested. A particular example of a promising new star comes from the German automaker BMW, who, following on the experience of Zipcar, introduced their car share unit in the US called Reach Now. With car shares, they can target an untapped group of consumers who live in densely populated areas and really don't need to own a vehicle. Reach Now first opened in Seattle in April of this year, and a second location was scheduled to open yesterday in Portland, Oregon. Currently in the US, Zipcar has 11,000 cars and more than 750,000 members. Projections suggest that global car sharing services will grow from approximately $1 billion today to $6.2 billion by 2020. As with all ideas, as soon as it becomes public, there will be critics. Some critics of the BCG model cite the fact that high market share is not the only factor determining the success of a business unit. Others suggest that market growth is not the only indicator for attractiveness of a market. And third, sometimes dogs can earn even more than cash cows. Would I change this framework? Probably not, in part for historical reasons. But there are a number of modified versions of this framework in use, and I'm sure that an astute consultant will adjust his approach based on the needs of his client. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge my sources, the websites listed here, and this dog is a keeper.